How's it going, everyone? This is Trixx from Meta Smash, and in this video we're going to be talking about aerial response curves. This is a topic that I've been fighting with for a very long time to try and properly illustrate so that you guys can get a ton of value out of this concept. In this video we're going to be going over how to space your aerials properly based on what you're trying to accomplish, whether it be walling out your opponent, poking their shield, or retreating. But before we get into this, I want to explain a few things and answer a couple questions. First things first, I want to mention that this is a concept that I made up myself. With regards to the symbols that you see on screen, these are going to be depicting your character's aerial drift, not the direction that you're going to be pushing the control stick. So in order to perform these properly, you're not going to be drawing these shapes with your control stick, but rather trying to get your character to move along this path. I'm sure you'd also notice that there's a star on each of these symbols. The star represents when you're going to hit your attack button. And lastly, I'm sure this is going to be a very popular question, and that is, how many response curves are there? And honestly, there is an infinite amount. However, these are the most popular and most basic. And so with all this being said, let's get into our first response curve. So our very first response curve is actually not a curve at all, but rather pressing the jump button and then timing an aerial. A response curve like this can be great for pressuring a shield in the corner, especially with regards to ledge trapping. This is the type of attack that you want to use if you want your opponent to make a decision and try to get past you. If they jump into you, it is their fault that they got hit. I made a video a very long time ago called Tempo Training that goes over this exact response curve and how you can practice it to do it as quickly and efficiently as possible. When you're practicing this, it is okay to move ever so slightly back and forth to pressure your opponent's space. But the main idea is to not actually hit them. Next, we have retreating aerials. Something like this would be performed more often than not when you and your opponent are right next to each other, trapped in shield. You want to throw out a hitbox, but you also want to protect yourself. Look at the difference between these two response curves. Although Lucina's Nair hits in both situations, look at the separation in example number 2. If Terry happens to stay in shield, Lucina is still safe. A retreating aerial like this, with a different placement for your attack, can also be used for a cross-up on shield. An aerial like this can be used when someone is trying to punish your landing for crossing them up. I also want to quickly mention as well that a retreating aerial should be just that. If you happen to do it backwards, it can be incredibly unsafe. Next, we have another retreating response curve, but this is for attacks that have much shorter range. In some cases, this shorter range move might be a kill move or a combo starter. There's also a possibility that you may be facing backwards and your fastest option of shield doesn't have the range to actually hit your opponent. So you have to commit a little bit more and sacrifice a bit of your aerial drift to actually connect this hit. Next, we have the most aggressive response curve, which is going for a poke on shield or poke at the ledge. You're committing fully with your aerial drift towards your opponent and then retreating as hard as you possibly can in the opposite direction while throwing out an attack. Of course, the reason why this is the most committal is because if your opponent happens to jump at you at the exact same time, they could catch you off guard. And depending on the aerial, there's a very strong chance that you're either going to be rising with no hitbox, or by the time you actually hit this poke, it's going to be the weak hit of your hitbox. However, the reward can be baiting your opponent out of shield and exposing one of their habits, in which case you can capitalize in the future. There's potential for your opponent to react and try and punish your aerial with an up B, an up smash, or try and punish your landing with a grab. If the opponent does not have a lot of range out of shield themselves, they might find themselves jumping onto your shield once you land. If you can get someone to land on your shield, then you can go for a grab or any other punish that you'd like. And then lastly, we have the late retreating aerial. A response curve like this is typically used to try and land the first hit of a multi-hit move, something like Joker's Fair 1 or Lucina's Nair 1. Aerials like this can be used to combo into stronger attacks that can typically get you a kill or start a combo. And with that, that's going to be it for the video. I really hope you guys could take something away from this and be able to apply it to your game so you can space your aerials even better. And on the flip side, you can be on the lookout for if anybody tries to use these techniques against you. And lastly, just before we go, I do want to mention that I am streaming on YouTube and playing with viewers daily at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you are interested in playing with me, or you just want to stop by to ask some questions and join in on the conversation, be sure to stop by the stream. And once again, this is Trixx from Meta Smash saying thanks for watching the video, and please be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this.